Hello, this is Sierra, and welcome to another video. Today we're in the next reading of a couple of chapters of Clockwork Chronicles Defender, which is basically Liam's story, pretty much, between, Hermitcraft, Retribution, and the next story, which I still don't have a title for. I'm almost done with writing it, but I don't have a title for it. I'm gonna have to read through it again and just think of what. It's not a big deal. I feel like Snappy. He always thinks of a title for his games at the last minute, which is hilarious. But yeah. Usually I have titles for it sooner, but no, not this time. But yeah, it's not a big deal. I will be going to read chapter 7 and 8, so if you want to stick around and listen to that, feel free. But yeah, this is starting to get into Hermitcraft territory, so if you're a Hermitcraft fan, by all means continue. And if you're not, you might as well listen to this. You might meet somebody new that you might like. Enjoy. Yeah. I just felt like Liam deserved a little bit more of a book rather than just short stories, you know? Yeah. Liam stepped outside, the bright green grass crunching quietly against the weight of his feet. The late afternoon sky was slowly starting to darken as Liam took in the surroundings. The stone walls surrounding the perimeter obscured much of the forest around them. He could hear voices near the gate as Liam turned, seeing Matthias leaning against the wall, talking to three figures. Liam blinked, recognizing the two cousins immediately. Blake was gesturing toward the tower as he spoke, but Liam couldn't hear what he was saying, as Julius held the third figure close. His mother. He's found his mother. The woman was leaning heavily against the young man, her dark blonde hair matted and tangled. Her face was pale, as her piercing sky-blue eyes took in her surroundings. Her eyes fell on Liam as the boy quickly looked away, feeling his cheeks burn as tears pricked his eyes. As much as he wanted to be happy for Julius for finding his mother, for being reunited with her after years of separation, Liam could still feel a pang of sadness. He's never going to be able to find his father. Never going to see his father again. His father was gone. Connor was gone. A lump formed in his throat as Campbell's words whispered in his mind. Even if your aunt finds you, she won't be able to protect everyone. She's only one person. She can only be at one place at a time. Liam shook that thought out of his mind, taking a slow breath. It wasn't his aunt's fault, as much as it wasn't his fault that their home was attacked. That everything they had known was burned to the ground. Campbell had made his choice in an attempt to hurt them, to destroy them. Good? A voice pulled him away from his thoughts as Liam looked up, seeing Isaac walking by his side. Beat-ups and Pearl had already beat the group to the front door, dashing inside. Liam could see someone at the window, just as the curtain fluttered closed. Jem. Liam swallowed, relieved that she'd appeared to be okay. He hasn't seen her since the torment, remember? She's seen him, but he hasn't seen her. So, this is the first time he's seen her. Since the kidnapping and torture. Sam had told him she was okay. That they hadn't hurt her as much as they had him. They'd only wanted to use her to lure the hermits, and hopefully Sam into a trap. He remembered hearing her insistent cries for Stuart to stop hurting him, for Julius to leave him alone. He hadn't listened. He could still hear her voice. All the things he'd held on to. Stuart bombarded him with lies to try to break him down, to tell him everything the boy knew. Liam? Isaac asked again. The older boy blinked. Liam turned away from the window and sighed. I'm okay. Liam replied quietly. Concern filled the boy's eyes, but Isaac only nodded, saying nothing as they neared the door. Hearing the voices grow louder and clearer, he could hear Beat-ups talking excitedly about Liam coming here and everything he'd told the hermit. I'm just surprised, that's all. Jem's voice floated through the door as Liam stepped through, spotting the three of them by the couch. Jem looked up at the sound of footsteps, meeting his gaze. A smile formed on her face. Hey, Liam, how are you? I'm doing fine. Liam smiled weakly, stepping aside as he let Isaac and Josh come inside. That's good. Relief filled her gaze before she looked away. I heard Stampy's having fun with the new interns. Oh yeah, Aiden and Aaron are doing pretty well. Liam looked up at the group. They're good fighters too. I am glad Sam has more people to help him, Jem said softly, stepping toward Beat-ups. Yeah, stepping forward as Beat-up stepped out of the way. And Stampy? He's good too, Liam shrugged. Not that much has changed in a day. She chuckled. Good. Just want to make sure my friends are okay, you know? William nodded. I don't blame you for that. Why don't you have a seat while one of us gets you something? Pearl gestured for the couch. I'm sure you're hungry. Liam smiled, crossing the room as Beat-ups bolted for the kitchen. He plopped down on the couch. You don't have to do that for me. You're our friend, and you need the energy after going through a portal to get here, Pearl said confidently, taking a seat next to him on the couch. We care about you. Liam didn't meet her gaze as he looked down at the hardwood floor. There was a gray rug in the center of the room. Thank you. A few minutes later, Beat-ups came running back with a plate of food. Liam taking the hermit's offer gratefully. Beat-ups smiled at the boy, looking over at Josh. Luke's just finishing up his last call if you want me to see him. Josh nodded, starting to the kitchen before he stopped. Is everything all right? Why does he have to make calls? To whom? Impulse had an update he needed to get to Sam and Rose. Jem said softly, not meeting the younger teen's eyes. This was a revelation that one of the men gave him that he wanted to take care of. What kind of revelation? Isaac frowned, looking between the three hermits. One of the men told Impulse that Gerald was getting close to finding Green's friends. Jem winced, taking a seat in a nearby armchair, to a point where the soldier was ordered to buy Campbell Dictatorate. What? Liam gasped. His eyes widened. Did he say anything else? Josh demanded. You're gonna have to ask Impulse. Jem smiled sadly. He's talking to Green right now, upstairs. He wanted to let Green know what was going on. Is everything okay? Pearl asked softly, getting to her feet and crossing the room. She kneeled beside the armchair as she put a hand on top of her friends. If Gerald was getting close to finding Green's friends, wouldn't it be possible that he also found ours? Jem asked nervously, her voice just barely above a whisper. Impulse told me to make sure our friends were okay, but I wanted to make sure. Call them then. Pearl smiled up at the hermit. They need to know what's going on, if Rose hasn't already told them. Jem nodded. We tried so hard to make sure the men wouldn't find them. And then Gerald goes ahead and tries to ruin it. She sighed helplessly. They didn't find them. Pearl reminded her. Not yet. But he was close enough to find Green's. Surely he would have known there were two villages near each other, Jem insisted. That's what Gerald was best at, Liam said calmly, setting a plate of food next to him on the couch. Remember, he betrayed us back when Sam and I first met Stampy. He accused Stampy of betraying our location, but we knew it was him. He's done this sort of thing for years, Jem. He finds people, roots them out, and then hands them over to his allies. Her green eyes widened with horror. She looked down in horror as she looked down before shaking her head. I can't believe it. Gerald is gone, Pearl said gently, squeezing her friend's hand. Campbell can't have known exactly where they are. You'd have to guess. Does he, though? Campbell's attacked several towns at a time before. Jem put her head in her hands. Liam got to his feet, crossing the room to her other side. What's stopping him from just going after them? Both of them. He told you that? Liam asked gently, putting a hand on her shoulder. Jem looked up, tears in her green eyes. He told me he had an army, enough men to destroy a city if he had to. She gasped back a sob. They would tear down worlds to find my friends, to make sure I had nothing left. No one left. Jem shook her head again. It could already be too late. It's not too late, Liam said softly, pulling the hermit into a hug. Campbell sent some men after us when Stappy was giving the interns a tour over an hour ago. What? She gasped again, pulling away. Was everyone... I would have told you immediately if that was the case. Liam smiled that later. Apart from a small scratch, everyone was okay. She looked down at his bandaged arm and let out a sigh. So you tried to go after Stappy after failing to capture Green? No, he was after my brother, Liam said calmly. Oh, Stappy would have been a nice bonus. Jim bit her bottom lip, almost hiding a smile. You think it isn't too late then? Sam would have gotten something, or Stappy would have felt something. Liam looked up at the others. But that hasn't happened yet. Jim nodded. No, it hasn't happened yet. Relief filled her face, followed by concern as she pulled away from the boy, getting to her feet. As she got to her feet, fine. I need to make a call. If Impulse comes back, can you tell him what I told you? We will, don't you worry, Pearl said gently. Shem smiled at her friend, giving them a wave, Liam catching a hopeful look in her eyes, as her eyes met for a moment. The moment passed, and she was gone. She'll be okay, Pearl breathed, looking toward the boy, who was still watching the hallway. We didn't want many people to know yet that we brought the villages closer. It was meant to be a safety protocol, so that if one was in trouble, the other could help. Now, that's pretty smart, Beat-Up grinned at the hermit. Pearl nodded, looking toward the window. It is, but not like we planned for the possibility of an attack on both at the same time. We'll figure this out, Isaac said with a defiance as Josh and Luke returned from the kitchen, their voices dying down when they saw the somber looks on everyone's faces. Campbell can't stop us from trying to do what we can to keep our friends safe. Liam nodded, glimpsing a flash of determination across Pearl's face. She also gave a nod, rolling her shoulders back, letting her blonde hair flow down her back, rippling like a river. Her eyes were firm, steady. What did we miss? Josh asked curiously, looking at the group. It's been a wild few days, Liam admitted with a sigh. A wild week, more like it, Beatus chuckled nervously. Maybe we can even push it further, Pearl smirked. It's been a wild month since Campbell came to play. We'll stop him, Luke said confidently. We won't rest until he is no longer a problem. His eyes moved toward Liam. For our friends. Agreed, brother. Josh bumped his fist in the air. For our friends. Liam heard a chorus of cheers fill the room, filling his cheeks warm. But he knew it wasn't just for him or his brother. Not even just for that. There were still so many people out there who had lost everything, just as he had. Some that would lose more if they didn't do something. So he joined the cheer, feeling a geyser of hope, and consumed him as he embraced it. He wouldn't let Campbell get the last word. He would fight for his friends, by his friends' sides, no matter what it cost. Campbell was wrong. Wrong about everything. There were people worth fighting for. People worth fighting alongside. No matter what happened, he would be there. What other choice did he have? He certainly wasn't going to walk away. Not now. His friends needed him. Chapter 8. Darling. Wow. Liam stared down at his empty plate, hearing the small chatter of his friends around him. The evening light gave the web plate a magenta hue as he sat at the side on the table next to him. The boy looked up, seeing Josh, Luke, and Isaac talking together in one corner of the room, while Pearl and Beat-Ups were closer to the window, talking about what they planned to do tomorrow. Did you like the food? Beat-Ups asked, noticing the boy watching them. Yeah, it was great, Liam nodded. Thanks, Bubbles. Beat-Ups smiled at that, his large gray eyes glancing toward the stairs. You'd think Impulse would come back down here. Maybe he has some gadgets to finish, Pearl shrugged. You know Rose is always in need of more. She's got other good redstonians that can recreate what he's made, Liam pointed out. Pearl smiled. I guess he just likes doing something, then. Yeah, Liam nodded, looking toward the window. What else would you do if going outside was you in constant danger? I guess that's fair, Beat-Ups chuckled. But that's why we're never alone. I do miss it, though. Pearl sighed, her teal eyes growing hazy and distant, as if in a memory. Noah would always give us a little space to breathe, but was still nearby if we needed him. Back then, though, we didn't know whether or not Mr. A was watching or looking for us yet. I wish I could have met him. He seems like a really cool guy, Beat-Up said gently. Pearl nodded slowly. We never knew what happened to him. If Mr. A's men attacked him or eliminated him. She shuddered. If he survived, then why hasn't he shown up here? Maybe he can't, Liam pointed out. Or Rose needed his help for something else, knowing you and Jem would be in safe hands. Pearl smiled sadly. But she hasn't said anything about that. At least we can imagine, can't we? Sometimes, Liam replied. Sometimes a glimmer of hope is enough. He never did see his body disappear. Pearl closed her eyes and sighed. Wherever Noah is, I'm sure he's happy and proud of us for getting this far. But how long will it take before Campbell realizes something's happened? Beat-Ups frowned. How will he retaliate? I don't know. Pearl's eyes met the boy's. Her gaze was expectant and hopeful. If he doesn't know exactly who did it, Liam said firmly, he'd probably attack all of you, just to be sure he got what he wanted. Korean do? Beat-Up's eyes widened. He seems to have other plans for Korean. Liam shook his head, looking at his feet. Maybe you and Jim too, Pearl. Great, Pearl said softly. Just what we needed. I won't let anything happen if I can help it, Liam said encouragingly. Neither will we, Luke called from the corner, as the three boys having stopped talking to listen in. We got this, Beat-Up said confidently. There's nothing old Theo can do to stress. Old Theo, Liam mused with a smile. Beat-Up grinned. It's getting late, Pearl said simply, turning to look at the window. We should probably prepare for bed. We can come up with a plan tomorrow morning. A plan for what? A voice said from above as Liam heard the footsteps coming down the stairs. Impulse appeared a moment later. Oh, we've got some reports that Campbell has some big plan or something like that, Pearl shrugged, seeing as he probably knows what Green and our friends are. Really? Impulse tilted his head curiously, arriving at the feet of the staircase. Whew. We recently brought the two villages together as an extra buffer and security measure, so that if an attack happened to one, we'd have help from the other, and vice versa, Pearl replied. Although we now know Campbell doesn't usually work like that. So, what do you suppose he'll do? Impulse frowned, noticing Liam on the couch as the frown melted back to a smile. He could attack them both at the same time by splitting his team, Beat-Up said calmly. Julius has said Campbell's done it before. Capture Korean, attack the James residence, and rescue Gerald and the other assassins. Liam winced. You know who else escaped? Not yet, Beat-Up shook his head sadly. But he's done it before, so he can easily try to find a way to make it trickier for us to help our friends, as much as attacking them too. But he'd need an army. Pearl looked at the hermit, surprised. Wouldn't he? Sometimes it only takes one man who knows how to slip in behind enemy lines, Liam said quietly. Gerald was good at that. Impulse sighed and nodded. How much do you know about Campbell's tactics, Caleb? My aunt probably knows more than I do, but from what I know, he likes to create distractions to try to pull her focus away, and then attack her or her allies when they're vulnerable. Liam rolled his shoulders back, sitting up straight. Like the poisoning of the rivers. It was more of a distraction to lure Rose and her group away from what he was after, school. Beat-Up's eyes widened again. I never thought of that. Liam nodded, reading his friend's eyes. Campbell knows how to misdirect and mislead, just as much as he does luring his enemies right where he wants them. Well, we'll be ready if he tries, Impulse said confidently. Lifting his chin, Liam could see the confidence hadn't reached the hermit's eyes. Was he nervous? Scared? Worried? Liam wished his brother was there to help him. Sam was always better at reading expressions than he was. Then again, he spent most of his time around Stampy's helpers, who were mute. As I've already said, We should sleep on it and come up with a plan tomorrow. Pearl, encouraged, nodded toward Liam. Been a long journey today, especially Liam. I'm not sure if I can sleep, or if I want to, Liam admitted, shaking his head. Not if I risk waking people up because of my nightmares. You'll be fine, Impulse encouraged, entering the room to stand beside the boy. We deal with a lot of nightmares as of late. We're used to it. Liam smiled weakly. Shouldn't have to be. You might want to tell Korean what you told us tomorrow, Impulse said simply with a smile. He's already been through a lot today. I don't want to add more tonight. Liam nodded. Sure, but can I ask you something? Of course, Impulse replied as Liam stood, turning toward the stairs. What is it? Stephen was wondering if there was a way to make the invisibility detectors portable. Liam replied. We got snuck up on today when we were showing Aiden and Aaron around. Impulse nodded. I was working on something like that already for the communicator, but got distracted with other things. His expression appeared thoughtful before he smiled. I'll see if I can work on it again tomorrow, okay? Yes, sir. Liam smiled, heading toward the stairs. You guys will be all right down here. We'll be fine. Beatips waved at the older teen happily. This base is one of the safest places here in this world. Liam nodded, returning his friend's wave as he went up the stairs, deciding he would take a room beside the sleepover room for the night. He didn't want to take up any more space than he had to, although he knew the hermits wouldn't mind. He arrived at the stairs, noticing the door to the sleepover room was open. Caleb leaned against the wall beside it, looking a little drowsy as his gaze found Liam. When did you get here? Caleb smiled as Liam approached. Not too long ago. My aunt wanted to stop by and give you all a hand. He looked down at the hall, in case the worst happens. Caleb nodded, staring down at the floor. At least everyone's okay. For now. Liam replied with a small smile. How are Green and Scar? They're fine. Caleb gestured to the room. Liam looked in. Gran sat in a chair beside Scar's bed. Liam could see the bandages wrapped around Scar's chest as Eliza placed a towel soaked with regen on top of the bandages before pulling back the covers and tucking it in onto the hermit's chin. So where will you be sleeping tonight? Not far, Liam replied calmly, seeing Green turn at the sound of his voice, realizing he was there for the first time. We've got room in here, Green replied quietly with a weak smile. Liam walked into the room, careful not to step on any of the sleeping bags. I won't be far if you need anything. Green moved his gaze back to Scar. I just can't believe he's just gone. Gerald? Liam asked, seeing Green nod. Me neither. We all thought he was gone for months, but then he started showing up again. Yeah, Green said softly. But he is gone, Eliza confirmed. There is no way he can come back from that. Liam swallowed, not saying anything for a moment. Well, we should all get some rest and be ready to come up with a plan of action tomorrow. You think camp out will give us that kind of time? Green asked nervously. He needs time to regroup first, Liam said calmly. He's made many moves in quick succession. Those men need time to sleep and eat too, luckily. Green's smile widened at that. Okay. He got to his feet and went over to the sleeping bag beside Scar's bed, looking at the boy for a moment before crawling in. I'm not sure if I want to sleep, though. We all need rest. Liam knelt beside the hermit as Green dipped himself in. It's a shame that our enemies rest so easily while we're forced to experience nightmares over and over again. Green sighed, shaking his head as he rested it on his pillow. I'm sure some of them experience the same nightmares, Liam replied. Not all of them are monsters. Like Julius, Green breathed softly. Liam nodded. Yeah, like Julius. Green paused, fidgeting with the zipper of his sleeping bag. You know, all he really wanted was for someone to notice him, to appreciate him for who he was, to know someone out there cares. You care about him? Liam asked curiously, hearing Eliza cross the room toward the door. I care that he found his mother, Green replied. I care that he went out of his way to save Scar, that He denied a direct order from Stewart to Hermit. He didn't have a problem with that for me, Liam sighed, feeling a little bitterness in his mouth. He had lost his father at the time. The one person he believed cared. Graham swallowed. But all Dr. Royster wanted was revenge. Revenge for his wife's disappearance, for helping the YouTubers. Revenge for his brother-in-law and sister for betraying him. All he truly cared about was his work. That always came first, before Julia's. Liam nodded his head slowly, sitting down beside the hermit. I guess I can understand that. He was only following orders because that's what his father did. Graham closed his eyes, letting out another sigh. He chose to save my life in beat-ups that day. He could have stepped back and let Stuart hurt Haley, or even Impulse. But he didn't. He disobeyed a direct order. Felt something he was genuinely cared about. I'm glad he's on our side, then. Liam said calmly. He is quite fierce and obedient. He could have easily ignored Scar's distress call. Green said softly, tears in his eyes. But he didn't. He killed Gerald so he couldn't hurt anyone else. Liam smiled, brushing a strand of hair from the hermit's face. He should get some sleep. Won't be far, Green asked quietly. Pearl suggested I keep an eye on you while Caden recovers, Liam replied. After? Green asked hopefully. We'll see. Liam sighed with a smile. I would be honored to help you, even after, if you need it. You were the first friend I made from the cause. Green smiled. The first person I knew I could trust, next to your aunt. Then again, you told me I could trust her. She did, Liam said gently. Look how far that's taken you, Green. I want the fighting to be over, Green said quietly. I want the pain to stop. We'll find a way to stop the bout for good, I promise, Liam replied, seeing his friend's expression relax as Green nodded before drifting off to sleep. Liam sat there for a long moment, looking up as he heard footsteps. Impulse, Jem, Pearl, and Beat-Ups appearing moments later. The group spread out toward different parts of the room as Impulse approached the boy. You want to sleep next to him tonight? Impulse asked curiously. You don't mind? You didn't want me to be far, Liam admitted. Of course I don't mind, Impulse said gently, gesturing to the unoccupied sleeping bag to the boy's right. It's good that you're here. Maybe you both can help each other with those nightmares. Steve nodded. How have they been? Tense. But Scar and I were able to help him last night. Impulse smiled. I don't know if we'll be able to do it again, but we'll try. Liam sighed. I wish I could get a break from the horrors Stuart showed me. We're here if you want to talk about it, Beat-Up said from one of the sleeping bags by the door, crawling inside. Liam nodded, starting to crawl into the sleeping bag. Good night, then. Good night, Liam, Impulse said gently. Liam zipped himself in, making himself comfortable, hearing Green's soft breathing beside him. Tomorrow would be a new day, new opportunities, and hopefully Campbell would take his time before he would attack again. Part of Liam knew that as soon as the man was ready, there would be trouble. Uneasiness clung to the boy in a tight grasp, not willing to let go. A sense of dread filled him, a returning feeling of something bad happening, consuming his unconsciousness as the nightmares roared through his thoughts. And that is the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, if you have any thoughts or theories or ideas for future stories, feel free to comment down below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Every time I